We begin this morning on the Daily Nation newspapers in Kenya. We're starting in the east of the continent. It says here, why court threw out Ruto's 50 CASs? And of course, you can also read what the judges said. It's our considered view that it was not the intention of the framers of the Constitution to create positions of 50 CASs to deputize 20 cabinet secretaries. Also, accordingly, the newly created office and fresh complement of 50 had to comply with the Constitution and the criteria set out earlier in Okia's case in order to be lawfully established. They did not comply for the avoidance of doubt. It says that the entire complement of 50 CASs is therefore unconstitutional. And that is from Justices Kanyi Kimondo, Alim Visram, and Justice Hedwig Onguido. That's, of course, updates on that story. What next? It says President William Ruto suffered a big blow yesterday at the High Court after the High Court declared his move to appoint 50 chief administrative secretaries as unconstitutional. Will he obey the law or, like his predecessor Uhuru Kenyatta, just ignore it? Big question there. And of course, if you remember, even here in Nigeria, there's also questions as to the number of aides and personal assistants and advisors that have been appointed by not just the president, but even the Senate president. All right. Also, the Daily Nation this morning, public sector wage bill hits new record as civil service pay rises. Staff to get raised this July. Congratulations to them. Saba rally to fight tax oppression, says Azimio's Raila Odinga. Police hold 4 over Akasha murder bid. And also good, bad, and ugly of 2022 health survey. You can read more on that analysis of the health in Kenya in 2022. Those are the big stories on the Daily Nation this morning. We'll move away from the east and let's see what we can find in the southern part of the continent on the Sowetan this morning in South Africa. It says there, Mangang prison guards dilemma. And that is for a G4S exit. If you're, of course, I've been following the Thabo Bester situation. It says, as deadline for security companies' contract looms, unions fight to save jobs of hundreds of workers. DA warns that staff issues are problematic and they should not be retained without lifestyle audits. That's on page 3. I think a lot of people would also agree with the DA there, seeing, of course, the fallout from the Thabo Bester story and how many of them have so far been arrested. How many of the G4S staff have been arrested and accused and are co-accused in the Thabo Bester case. Also, I told Bongo co-accused he is schelm, says a witness. I'm not sure what that is. Our South African viewers can help us understand what schelm, means. On page 2 of the Sowetan this morning. And you can also see a picture on your screen there of a Protestant leader, Nkala, along with others as they appear in the Randburg Magistrates Court on charges of intimidation and damage to property. Of course, you remember there were some slight protests in South Africa. These, of course, are some of the stories. Safa couldn't afford friendly overseas, as a back page. And also, that's in sport rather, farmers urge youth to enter sector. These are the big stories on the Sowetan this morning. Let's move away from South Africa, go to the west of the continent and see what's going on in Nigeria this morning on the Daily Sun. Interesting stories here. It says, Tinubu talks tough on security challenge, charges service chiefs to fix problem, demands synergy among them and NSA. And of course, you remember we've spoken about this multiple times and spoken about how all these, talking tough and barking orders and giving marching orders. We've heard these things a billion times in the last couple of years, mostly during the Buhari administration, where the news reports say that he has given marching orders and he has, ordered this and he has directed the service chiefs and directed the IGP, and none of it seemed to be taken seriously. It's either they weren't listening or the marching orders weren't marching to their offices, or the orders given by the president were not, they didn't get all the way down to their offices, the service chiefs I'm talking about now, because Nigeria's security situation did not improve, and neither did the security infrastructure improve, greatly to have a better and more secure Nigeria in different parts in the north, central, northeast, and of course in the whole of the southeast. Well, once again, the president is talking tough on security challenges. We'll see. Senate reps resume today to elect principal officers. Of course, you remember there's still a little bit of controversy with the Senate minority leader and the Senate, the House of Reps leadership. Also, no 1 week sit at home in Southeast, says IPOB, and that's on Daily Sun this morning. I also got to see a video yesterday of, I think, Ifeanyi Oba or Chris Uba, I'm not sure which of them, I think it should be Ifeanyi Oba, who was, I need to verify, I think it should be Ifeanyi Oba, who was warning Simon Ekpa and the IPOB, and of course declaring officially that sit at home, is over in the Southeast. He did give a very, very stern warning and encouraged everyone to come out on Mondays and go back to business because of how, the sit-at-home order was greatly affecting businesses in the Southeast. So we're going to see how it plays out, because remember that another governor in the Southeast, the Enugu State governor, tried pretty much the same thing, and the reaction seemed to be even worse than it was initially when there was a sit-at-home order. He resumed office and, of course, declared it over. And of course, the next Monday it was worse. So we'll see if the Ifeanyi Oba's orders and of course his declarations would work different. But I generally believe that it has to be a combination of work by every single political leader in the Southeast. Everybody needs to come out and of course work hand in hand to ensure that they're able to end that cancer on Mondays in the southeastern part of Nigeria. If for our viewers outside the country, I'm referring to a sit-at-home order that was declared by the IPOB, which is a sect that of course has been trying to break out of Nigeria. They of course declared a sit-at-home order since their leader Nnamdi Kanu was arrested by the Nigerian security agents, and of course is currently still in their custody, going back and forth jail. A sit-at-home order was declared on Mondays in the Southeast as a form of protest. And of course, that is what the governors and political leaderships are trying to fight at this point, to get people out there to work and do their business on Mondays and stop, taking that Monday holiday. We'll see. Still on the Daily Sun newspapers this morning, presidential poll, President INEC kick as court admits EU's report in Atiku's petition. And of course, that's one of the stories that broke yesterday with the EU's election observer team, of course, and their report, basically saying that there were, numerous flaws in Nigeria's electoral process. And of course, the question, once again is, why was there any argument? Because these are the things that they mentioned were pretty much glaring. There's nothing to argue about, with, what they said. Tinubu APC open defense on Atiku today. The report also, of course, from yesterday says that the INEC's witness refused to show up yesterday, and so there was an adjournment of the case. Also this morning, Igbo leaders set agenda for Southeast governors, and also PDP court voids Nnamani's expulsion. Party's NWC senators brainstorm on minority leader. And UTME score, Anambra government investigates Ejikeme's JAMB result, which is a very embarrassing story in the last 48 hours across Nigeria.